So of course, there's a devastation. Retaliatory strikes are being launched by Iran, and in Dubai, in Manama, we are seeing those blasts being reported. We are bringing you live footage of those strikes. In fact, let's now go back on to the discussion here. We are now joined in by retired Major General Dr. Rajan Kochar in the discussion here. Dr. Kochar, thanks very much for joining us, and a very good afternoon to you. What do you make of the current situation to begin with?
Thank you, Kriti. Situation is going to escalate further because if I analyze the first 24 hours, the political aim was very, very clear from Donald Trump to his military commanders that he wants a regime change, and the military commanders converted into the military aim, and that was targeting the senior political and military leadership. I am given to understand that they've been quite successful. 40 senior military and political leaders have been liquidated. So now the second target was that all the missile launcher sites, and you have to appreciate that Iran is a 17 lakh square kilometer area, and more than 100 missile launcher sites are deployed. So it was not possible in the first 24 hours to target all of them, and that is why we are seeing that missiles have been launched by Iran on its neighbors, and especially those countries which are harboring American air bases. And targets have not been restricted to the military targets. We see that Dubai airport was also targeted, and other high-rise buildings in Abu Dhabi have also been targeted. We have seen in Jordan also the missiles were launched. In Bahrain they were launched. Qatar they have been launched. And Iran will find it much easier to target these countries than Israel, because right now Gerald Ford is there in Israel, and it gives a reasonably good air defense umbrella to Israel, which was not there in the last 12-day war. We saw that their interceptors got exhausted, and substantial damage was caused to the Israeli infrastructure, including a number of Israelis were killed. I am given to understand that more than 300 Israelis were killed in those attacks. So in the first 22 hours, we see that a major setback to the Iranian leadership, political leadership, and I believe a transitional council of 3 people have been formed. Pezeshkian is heading that council, because in a political leadership you can't have a void. You have to have a person in charge. Secondly, I'm also told that the IRGC head has been appointed, a brigadier general has been appointed, Wahidi, I think his name.
Ahmed Wahidi.
Yeah, he has been appointed, and so that these attacks can continue. So what I visualize that in the next 24 hours, Iran is going to target the Gulf countries more than Israel.
Okay.
Because the vulnerability of the Gulf countries is here, because they don't have that kind of an air defense umbrella, because Americans will like to protect their own assets with the air defense they have, and they don't have an air defense shield for the entire country.
Dr. Kochar, do you think with these retaliatory strikes, the Gulf countries will be forced to be dragged in this conflict? And also talking about the council, how much real authority does this council really have at a time when supreme leader has been taken down?
See, this council has got your ultimate authority now, because see, the transition has to take place now, and when your leadership has been killed, Khomeini has been killed, so there has to be an alternative in place, and they will have the writ. They will have the entire power which is available to them to orchestrate the response of Iran now. A second important aspect which is being mentioned here is, and we need to take note of it, is that Iran is not going to buckle down as of now. There is no regime change which so far has been able to succeed without involvement of its own people. You tried it in Iraq, and you saw what happened in Mosul in Iraq, where the ISIS was actually emerged after this Iraq war. So I think United States would have learnt its lesson. Even if you eliminate 30, 40, 50 people who are at the helm of affairs, unless the people of Iran decide, because that is ultimately, because a regime change can only happen if the people of Iran want that to happen. And now I will see some psychological warfare also going on. Trump has already sent a message, and Reza Pahlavi's message also come in the morning. He is appealing to the people of Iran that this is the best time for you to shed away this present leadership and come out with a more balanced and a more acceptable kind of a leadership. So these messages are continuing because they are likely to be impacting the minds of the people. And when there is so much of firepower being used by the U.S. as well as Israel, I think a time will come when this sort of a movement will happen within Iran also.
All right. Dr. Koji, to continue to stay on with me, Manand Vivedi, what do you see for Reza Pahlavi? Do you think Trump is going to install him in the interim?
I personally would be a long lurch for me to answer that question. But I personally feel that if things happen the way the Americans and Benjamin Netanyahu have planned it to be, then I think it won't be a surprise if there is a reinstatement of the power equation as it was in 1979. That is, Reza Pahlavi can come in. And it is not about Reza Pahlavi jumping onto the occasion, but still, what I feel is that in concurrence with the earlier speaker, I would say that until and unless there is a complete and clearly visible regime change, it will be difficult for both President Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu and other guys who are involved in the American war room to actually reinstate Reza Pahlavi as the as the ruler or as the head of the state in Iran. So there has to be a cleansing. There has to be a cleansing of the regime there, wherein all the remnants, like the Republican guards, they have to be first of all liquidated. So still we can be hopeful about it because the Iranians might surrender. And what fate waited, the Baath party led by Saddam Hussein in 2003, he had to ensconce himself in a very deep crater. He was taken up and he was hanged after a very cantankerous kind of a judicial process or a court case. So coming back to Iran, I would say that the regime change has not even begun. Because just by removing 30 to 40 people, you cannot get into the entrails of the government of the day. But if that happens, then I think it will be definitively one of the core political objectives of President Donald Trump to bring in Reza Pahlavi as the head of the state in Iran. But first of all, an entity like the Pakistani Fauj, that is the IRGC, it should be dismembered or it might surrender. And once that only happens, then only things can take place, because IRGC used to call itself as a kind of a popular people's army, which has not happened, because if you look at the protest movement which is going on there are two strains of it which are doing the rounds. The first strain being that of people who are rejoicing.
Requested to stay on. Some breaking news now coming in. Viewers, Iranian TV has now confirmed that the death of Defense Minister Brigadier General Aziz